This is Mac OS Ken.
Two tales of retail, two stories from the nation's capital, and catching up with the financial folk. It is Monday, the 12th of April, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macosken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. A little over a week ago, the day that I took off for a week, Mac Rumors ran a report saying that Apple had reclosed all 20 of its stores in France due to COVID-19 concerns. The piece indicates that most of Apple's stores in the Hexagon have been closed for a while, though some stores had reopened. Now those stores, including Apple Champs-Élysées, Apple Opera, Apple Marché Saint-Germain, and Apple Lille, have closed again. They put up the Fermé sign on the 3rd of April. Apple's pages for the various stores list them as closed for at least the next week. I went to an Apple store on my time off, by the way. The keyboard on my 2018 15-inch MacBook Pro has needed fixing since the before times, though I never had time to be without it. Gabe at my local Apple store could not have been nicer, nor could he have been more helpful. For me, being there was weird. He said he was glad to be back. While I got to go to an Apple store, my MacBook Pro got to go to Texas. I dropped it off on Tuesday. It was back at my front door on Friday. Didn't send a postcard. Didn't get me a lousy t-shirt that said, "My computer went to Texas and all I got was this lousy t-shirt." It did get a blemish-free keyboard, though, and so far, every typo has been a legit made-by-me typo, not a result of the butterfly effect. How's your keyboard doing? Apple went a bit flippity-floppity over the weekend. When I started stacking news again on Friday, near the top of the list was news that Apple planned to give an upcoming congressional hearing a miss. Bloomberg ran a report that had lawmakers upset that Apple was all like, "Yeah, no." Senators Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota, and Mike Lee, Republican of Utah, sent a letter to Apple CEO Tim Cook saying in part, Apple's power over the cost, distribution, and availability of mobile applications on the Apple devices used by millions of consumers raises serious competition issues that are of interest to the subcommittee, consumers, and app developers. A full and fair examination of these issues before the subcommittee requires Apple's participation. We could go through the points made in the letter, or we could cut to the end, the part that had the senators strongly urging Apple to reconsider its position and to provide a witness to testify before the subcommittee in a timely manner. What a difference a weekend makes. By Sunday, Apple had reversed its decision. The piece from Apple Insider had the Cupertino company agreeing to send a representative. According to the report, Kyle Endier, Apple's chief compliance officer, will represent the company before the Judiciary Committee's Subcommittee on Competition Policy, Antitrust, and Consumer Rights. Stuff's lit to pop on Wednesday, the 21st of April. The Capitol isn't the only D.C. landmark with tech talk plans. CNET says the White House is meeting today with several execs from several companies to discuss the ongoing chip crunch. Talking of the virtual summit, CNET highlights a CNBC report saying the White House will meet with CEOs from Dell, Intel, Samsung, Ford, HP, AT&T, Alphabet, General Motors, and other companies on Monday to discuss the global computer chip shortage. Also set to attend the Semiconductor Summit are executives from Cummins, Global Foundries, Medtronic, Micron, Northrop Grumman, NXP, PACCAR, Piston Group, Skywater Technology, Stellantis, and Apple provider TSMC. Players from the D.C. side are said to include White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, National Economic Council Director Brian Deese, and Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. The White House offered no comment for Friday's CNET report. Hopefully we'll hear something from somebody sometime today. Tax refunds and stimulus checks look like good news for iPhone 12 sales. At least that's the thinking of KeyBanc capital markets analyst John Vin. Investors Business Daily had the analyst saying sales of Apple's wrap rod were up in March. In a note to clients, Vin wrote that iPhone 12 sell-through saw a healthy seasonal increase spurred by tax refunds and reopening catalysts. The analyst went on to explain that those catalysts include government stimulus payments and increased COVID-19 vaccinations, according to the report. By KeyBanc's reckoning, iPhone sales from February to March rose 31%. For the past 3 years, they've increased an average of 1% from February to March. According to Mr. Vin, overall carriers' feedback indicates the demand for iPhone 12 continues to surpass the prior iPhone 11 cycle, despite weakness associated with the 12 mini. While the piece doesn't list a rating or price target for Apple from Vin, he is stoked about Apple suppliers. Investors Business Daily says the analyst reiterated overweight or buy ratings on a number of companies in the iPhone supply chain. What do a positive note and an Apple price cut have in common? Both were issued by Morgan Stanley analyst Katie Huberty last week. The Street wrote up the note from Huberty, which had the analyst wild about the performance of Apple's services segment. Quoting her note, following strong March quarter App Store results and an analysis of the key drivers of Apple's licensing and other segment, we raise our already above street fiscal year 21 and fiscal year 22 services revenue estimates by 3% and 5% respectively, and are increasingly convinced that the consensus services forecast over the next 2+ years are too low. The only thing she seems to see wrong with Apple services is how well they did this time last year. You know, those tough compares for 2020 and 2021 we keep hearing about? Huberty thinks we've hit the first of those. Quoting the Street, Huberty said most major App Store regions saw a deceleration in year-over-year growth in the March quarter relative to the December quarter as they began to lap the first COVID-19 impacted months of 2020. Again, though, she is into Apple services. Quoting the report again, Huberty forecast that Apple services revenue growth would accelerate to 22% year-over-year in 2021, up from 19% year-over-year previously, and nearly 4 points ahead of consensus services growth of 18% year-over-year. So what is with the price target cut? The Street said the cut reflected lower multiples being granted to several of Apple's peers. The way a headline from Apple Insider put it, the cut was over stagnant peer stock prices. Huberty maintains an overweight rating on Apple shares. She did drop her price target on the shares from $164 to $156. While Morgan Stanley's Huberty is excited for Apple's services overall, Cowen and Company analyst Krish Sankar issued a note last week expressing excitement over two services in particular. Apple Insider had the analyst predicting big things for Apple News Plus, especially in light of the coming app tracking transparency changes. Quoting his note, "We believe Apple's News app and the News Plus paid subscription service are well positioned to not only benefit from incremental subscriber additions, but also accelerating advertising revenue growth. It's not just that advertisers will be looking for new places or ways to spend money. It's also the work Apple has done with Apple Search Ads, or ASA, in the App Store." Quoting his note again, "While we expect Apple to remain a small player in the overall digital ads market, We think there is opportunity to further monetize ASA across other platforms of the services portfolio long term. That'll be to the tune of over $1 billion in ads on News Plus, in his estimation. By 2023, he sees News Plus pulling in $1.14 billion in subscription revenue and $1.02 billion in digital ad revenue from ad impressions, resulting in a total of $2.2 billion. Cowen and Company has an outperform rating on Apple shares. Sankar's price target on the shares is $153. Quick programming note. A decent amount actually happened around app tracking transparency while I was off. We'll catch up on some of that on tomorrow's edition of macOS Ken. More news in a moment, but first a word from Headspace. Meditation made simple. If you've never tried meditating, there's a chance you're going to feel stupid the first few times. I have, with every meditation app I've tried. Headspace was the first one to get me past that. The practices I picked up from Headspace are skills I can use throughout the day. Whether you're looking to build on the basics, deal with a particular issue, or just looking for SOS meditations to pull you out of a mood, the growing Headspace library makes it easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. Headspace is backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 five-star reviews, and over 60 million downloads. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/macOSken. That's headspace.com/macOSken for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/macOSken today. Apple's answer to MTV has gone international. 9 to 5 Mac ran a piece on Friday heralding the availability of Apple Music TV in Canada and the UK. Would-be viewers can be real live viewers a couple of ways. It's available through the Apple Music app or the Apple TV app, according to the report. The crew from the Apple TV Plus series Mythic Quest is pulling an interesting move. With the second season of the show set to launch next month, Engadget says the show has produced a one-off episode set to premiere this Friday. Sounds sort of like a bookend to the last one-off from the series. Last year, Mythic Quest Quarantine dealt with some of what the world was going through as COVID-19 made work from home a thing a lot of people were doing for the first time. Now Engadget says Mythic Quest Everlight shows the team returning to the office after quarantine for an annual party. Where most office workers aren't actually going back to the office yet, is this maybe a bit premature? It's also kind of weird to celebrate going back to work considering production on MQ Season 2 was halted due to a couple of outbreaks of COVID-19 on the set. That said, the show is the show. Sir Anthony Hopkins lends his voice to the special. Mythic Quest Everlight hits Apple TV Plus this Friday, the 16th of April. The second season of the show lands in the stream on Friday, the 7th of May. Congratulations once again to Ted Lasso himself. Apple issued a press release a little over a week ago announcing another win for series lead Jason Sudeikis. He picked up the award for Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Comedy Series from the Screen Actors Guild. The SAG Award was the third win for Sudeikis this award season. Last month, he won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Actor in a Comedy Series. Earlier in the year, he took home a Golden Globe Award for the same category. And finally today, I spent more time playing video games on my days off than I really expected to. Part of that time was given to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on the Xbox, though more of my time probably went to Mahjong on Apple Arcade. A couple of Fridays ago, Apple added a ton of new stuff to its subscription game service, though when I say new, I mostly mean new to the service. Engadget ran a report explaining the additions. While Apple Arcade did launch the big-name game Fantasian as expected, the arguably bigger launch involved many smaller games in a couple of categories. App Store greats and timeless classics are those categories. Titles among the greats include Monument Valley, Fruit Ninja Classic, Cut the Rope Remastered, and Threes. Titles among the timeless classics include a couple of chess games, a couple of Sudoku games, a couple of solitaire games, backgammon, checkers, some word games, and of course, Mahjong. A few other titles that didn't fit into either category hit the store as well. Among those, Star Trek Legends, featuring characters from just about every Star Trek television series, NBA 2K1 Arcade Edition, and a reboot of the Oregon Trail. I missed that one when I was a kid, or it missed me. Either way, one or two people have told me that the new edition is pretty solid. In all, Apple added more than 30 games to Apple Arcade, bringing the total number of titles to over 180. My quick take? It is neat to play games that usually pester you to spend money to progress more quickly, without being pestered to spend more money to progress more quickly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have tiles to match. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. It's good to be back. What do you say we do this again tomorrow? Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.